guys
All
are on.
right, here we go. We're on, guys. How are we all doing out there, gentlemen?
Pretty good, Coach. How about yourself?
Good week of football.
All right.
Huge week.
You guys can't hear me or no?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah.
I can't hear you, so same issue I had last time. I'm going to go off and on real quick. You guys start with the stuff. Let me see what happens, all right?
You got it. Guys, what do you think about the way everything shook out last week? I mean, I'm going to go. We'll start. Obviously, I want to start about you. You guys know the game I want to start about.
Yeah, we could start there. Do you want to go with the breaking news first?
I mean, breaking news, go for it. I mean, it's like the ongoing saga.
I mean, we can go breaking news, but it's just everywhere you turn around.
Week.
It's the most not breaking news in the world because it's just the most. Yeah. It's an endless saga of Lane Kiffin, and I went from like really liking this guy just because of his team to I want to throw up in my mouth every time I hear his name.
Yeah.
It was. I tell you one thing. I just can't imagine it as a coach going through a whole season, and you get to the playoffs, and all of a sudden it's like, see you later. Yep. You know, I can't imagine. I mean, it's a whole different ball game because of the way college football is, I guess, nowadays. And this timeline that we have from the old college football doesn't work with new college football.
Right.
And that's the whole problem, where they have to switch this timeline up, and they can't be talking about semester breaks and stuff like that. Because let's be honest, these college football, the big time players and stuff and what's going on doesn't matter.
Nope.
You know, these guys are not going to be not accepted to a school. They're not going to be like, oh, we don't have any classes for you that normal kids got to deal with. It's not going to be like that. So that's where they got to make this switch and switch this timeline up.
You know what I didn't understand in regards to the whole the fashion in which Lane Kiffin departed Ole Miss. This is the way he likes to do things. He's a big center of attention guy, and anybody who is listening, who has not watched the documentary Many Lives of Lane Kiffin, it's worth a watch. I mean, I almost hate to give it like views at this point, but at the end of the day, it details it chronicles his whole career from the most part, and he was at, I want to say it was Fresno State as a quarterback. And they literally, I think, like, I forget who the quarterback was on the team. I want to say it was Carr.
The first round draft pick. I've had him.
Yeah, but was it like the older Carr? Anyway, they were like, "Listen, dude, you're not going to play. You know, you're a third string quarterback. Look at who's in front of you. You're like, you want to possibly coach? You look like you have a lot to offer. You know, your dad was a coach, this, that, and the third. Literally on picture day." There's one team picture with him in his pads, and then there's another picture with him with a polo shirt and khakis. Since then, he did the same thing with the exception of the playoffs and the way it was drugged through the media. He did the same thing at Tennessee. He just leaves in the middle of the night. Portnoy said it best. He goes, Lane Kiffin is going to leave your football city on flames in his rearview mirror at some point.
Yeah.
And it just sucks for the kid. Honestly, I sit back and I go, oh, look at this football program. They have not been relevant. They're going into the playoffs. They got the whole thing is winnable for them, in my opinion. And now this guy's like house shopping and batting. It sucks. It's annoying.
Well, the one thing that happened, which changed, the offensive coordinator, Charlie Weiss, is staying with the new staff.
For now.
Yeah, and Pete Golding. So that's kind of good that at least, I mean, for them, their two play callers on offense and defense will both be there. So I think that's good for the kids and good for the cohesiveness of the team going into the playoffs. So I'm glad for that. But Will, and that's what it was one of the big things with the and we'll talk more about it later about what were they going to punish Ole Miss in the playoffs because of losing their coach. And looking at the rankings, they didn't. They actually went up a spot. So it's not like they're going to get penalized for it.
Right.
You know. All right, so we talked, we'll talk about Lane, and, we'll go on a little bit more about Ole Miss later on. But, as far as the hire, going to LSU, as far as what he's going to be able to do there compared to at Ole Miss. I mean, what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole scenery of it is better for him. I mean, obviously, I'll take your guys' side with the whole coaching part and with the kids, but I mean, the stadium holds like 45,000 more people, so the atmosphere is going to be that much more. We know how an LSU night game always plays out.
Fans don't win the game, Walt.
No, you're right. No,
There you
I'm
go.
just
There you
saying,
go,
but
Will.
that's
I
gonna
love
pay
it.
for his $13 million contract a year a little bit better. But yes, I mean the recruits, like the number one recruit, the lineman Lamar Brown. He said he's staying. He's excited. So, I mean, I think he's gonna do real well there. I kind of like the big SEC teams when they're popping off. I mean,
Yeah.
it's tough for everyone else, but yeah, I mean, I think it's a good place for him, and he gets to keep an eye on his daughter now.
I also think that not to cut you off, Mal, I think that I know there's been reports of Ole Miss matching everything, quote unquote. I don't think that's really the case in terms of the money that, from what I understand, everybody's running around right now with their butthole puckered up in regards to the war chest that Lane has contractually received every year he's going to be there for what he's going to be able to go spend in NIL. I heard it's minimum of $30 million per year. That I don't know.
Like out
I
the
don't know a lot
boosters
of
too.
schools that are doing that. Like honestly, I feel like he just won up Oregon to a certain degree in terms of the money that year after year he's going to be able to go spend, and he's just going to buy guys away from other teams. It's the nature of the business. It is what it is. But that is going to be a team that is like, Z, it's like the bane of your existence. It's like they're going to be loaded with just bought 5-star talent every year. And I think,
They won't be hard to kill like some teams are.
Yeah.
Because they're just mentally tough. And like Blood Tuesday. Like, listen, it's like, we talked about what Kirby says all the time, about some of the guys that are just there for the money and not there for the hard work and I think that's what teams like, I'll be honest, like Oklahoma, since I'm a fan of them and I'm a fan of how they play the game and what they're going to recruit, because they're not going to get those guys because they just don't have the war chest that some of these schools are going to have. So I I look at Oklahoma and their transition from what they were under what do you call it, Lincoln Riley to what they are under Venables. Like you went from a whole different switch in basically culture of the team with pretty boy offense to just grind it out now defense because it'll just the head coaching styles.
Z, agreed. The defense is good and they are very tough on defense. I'm not going to argue that point. You still have a pretty boy finesse offense. You can't run the ball and your offensive line sucks. So you did get better on defense because Venables.
No, you missed what I said.
Wizard,
I mean, I don't think it's. Listen, I'm not saying they don't have. Listen, when I say pretty boy offense, they were just. I mean, they had listen.
You were airy.
Yeah, but they had a string of 5 or 6 Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And they had every receiver in the NFL was an Oklahoma guy, and they don't have that anymore. So they're gonna have to build up, a different way. And I think they're getting some guys that are they're gonna get the 4-star recruits that have chips on their shoulders, which is, I think, exactly what Brent Venables wants. That's the guy he wants. He wants the guy that wants to prove he belongs, and I'll take that all day for my team.
Not that it's worth saying, Z, but it's like right now I feel like Ole Miss is a finesse team. Are they when you watch them, even though they win games, I'm like, are these guys really tough? I don't think they're tough. They just go out. They have great athletes in certain places, and they put tempo on you, and he scores points and he gives up points. But I don't think they're punch you in the mouth tough. He's just going to have that and then some at LSU. So
yeah. All right, so let's go into some of the other coaching hires this week, because once that fell into place, everything else kind of went into place with a lot of these teams. And again, a couple of these teams, like Eric Morris is at North Texas, and he's going to Oklahoma State. And I think is he still coaching in the postseason too?
I thought they said that he was. I'm not 100% sure, but
I think he is too.
Yep.
So he went to Oklahoma State. Ryan Silverfield went from Memphis, went to Arkansas, which from what I hear and what I was reading, it wasn't received very well in Arkansas. As far as who this guy was and the lack of um, completion of seasons, I should say, at Memphis from what they were under Mike Norville from Florida State and went from Memphis to Florida State. They kind of didn't really live up to expectations, but he still got a nice. But again, Arkansas kind of like one of those bottom teams in the SEC. Like it's going to be, can they get the resources to build that program up? And resources, we all mean money. Are they?
Yeah. It's gonna be
You know?
hard, man.
Yeah.
It's tough when you're dealing with what the blue bloods up top are going to get and how much money they're trying. Because listen, once everybody hears what LSU is going to have, listen, Texas is going to top them. They probably already topped them with how much money they're going to give to their team. Texas Tech isn't going anywhere, and they're in a different conference, but they're going to up theirs. And it's just like this is what it's all about nowadays. And but the thing is, there has to be some type of guidelines or rules as far as whether it's going to be a salary cap, whether it's going to be contracts, whether it's going to be keeping track of the money they're getting from the team and the money they're going to get from their own, from their own agents and stuff. So there's no way to keep track of any of this stuff because it's just unbelievable how this is going to happen. And I don't know what's going to spark it. Is it going to, like, people are talking about, like, these guys at the school, like, are they covered under insurance of the school because they're all, like, are they independent contractors and they got to find their own insurance? Like, what is everything? I don't know what everything is with all this,
When I first heard of NIL becoming a thing, you know what immediately flashed to my mind? Remember, like, Reggie Bush and the whole scandal, him getting the Heisman taken away, all that stuff. I thought it was like, oh, these kids are now going to get to make money off of their own name. Like Reggie Bush is on the cover of video game, boxes. He is the top dog. He was the most exciting player at the time. Anything that went on Sports Center, there was always a segment about Matt Leinart, Reggie, but like the whole thing. So when I was like, oh, name, image, and likeness. So, the money that USC makes selling Reggie Bush jerseys, Reggie Bush is getting a portion of the stuff that says Reggie Bush and the commercials and all the stuff. Because back then, Z, it was nuts what an NCAA football player was allowed to get. You were allowed to get like a certain stipend for food. You were allowed really nothing. You were allowed nothing.
Pretty much.
So it was like ridiculous. It was like poverty level shit. Let's be honest. If you had zero, let's just say you weren't close with your parents and they weren't sending you with a care package to your dorm and a little friggin' mini fridge, like you were getting, you were like, you had to go work a job and also play football. So that's what I thought it was. And then it's like, if these guys are making millions of dollars because EA Sports is putting them on the cover of friggin' NCAA football and they're having apparel deals and Nike and all that, that's what I thought. And name, image, and likeness. It wasn't just hey, we're the university. We're paying you a check to play football, which is what it's turned into. And it is what it is. But at the end, it has created the parity, which I am a fan of. And I really, if you look at the top teams, they have definitely overnight become more competitive in the top NIL spending teams. They're still not just winning. Like, if we're being honest right now, Oregon should have won the national title 2-3 years in a row already. And they might go do it this year. Who knows if they do it next year? Is Ohio State even in the top 5 of NIL money? Are they?
Yeah.
Are they?
Yeah, they talked about last year their roster. You remember Nick Saban talking about and Malda? I saw you shaking your head. Yeah, remember what he said on like College Game Day about, hey, you got 20-something million to spend. You better be spending on the right players, and that's what the knock was at Ohio State. And they
just look at the receiving room; it's all 5. Every kid's a 5-star, and they're
but
1, 2, 3 depth.
That's going on. But that's going on in Oregon. That's going on in Miami. I mean, how much money did Cristobal get that first year to build his roster? And so I agree with what you're saying. It's definitely impactful, but I don't think it's directly materializing. And it's like, oh, this is the bet. This is the New York Yankees. They're just buying championships. That hasn't really happened yet either.
Yeah, but that's not, again, I don't think that's going to be like that because there is enough teams that have good money to go out there
And be competitive.
Yeah, and
Right.
they can be competitive with it, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, let's be honest. I mean, you know, Texas alone, I mean, they're spending more on their quarterback. They're spending double on their quarterback what anybody else in the country spends. So, I mean, you talk about like they have the war chest because of, I mean, listen, there's a lot of money in Texas, and you got a lot between SMU, Texas Tech, Texas A&M, Texas. There's a lot of money to go around over there, you know? And we'll see how it all shapes out, you know, as far as how this goes forward and what these rules are going to be, which, you know, I hope that, you know, I would love to see like Nick Saban get involved in these rulemakings for the new calendar for the coaches to leave and all this stuff, and like an NFL driven salary cap, an NFL driven, and they're talking about this even more, an NFL driven calendar where you have you take away spring ball, OTAs, and you have rookie camp, you have all these kind of things because this is what you're dealing with nowadays. You know, you can't just worry about the semesters in college because these kids aren't going to class half the time. You know?
Yeah.
They're all being like tutored, and they're all have like, you know, their online classes. So I don't think there's stuff that we really need to worry about for these kids. You know.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree there.
All right, now also we have John Summerall from Tulane, who I know he is coaching he's going to coach in the championship game, and then most likely, possibly if they win, into the college football playoff. I heard he was going to still be there, and then Jim Mora leaving UConn to go to Colorado State. So you know, kind of weird. I don't know why he would go. But I don't know if he is more of a West Coast guy. I know he was at UCLA, so maybe he does like it more out there in the West Coast. You know, he was there once, so that's kind of – I didn't know if he would go that far away, but he did. I mean, so good for him. That's where he wanted to go. Took UConn to back-to-back, I believe it's 9-win seasons at UConn from a program that was basically they were going to cancel it and just drop down to like – Division 2 or 3 or something, so that's a pretty good run right there.
Where's Penn State, man?
Listen, the more and more of this, like I don't know what's going on with the Penn State.
I have a theory.
You know, it's got to be somebody has to be involved, and you know, you heard rumors about Kalen DeBoer. Like if he loses the SEC championship game. And by some crazy reason, they don't get in the playoffs, which I think if that happens, that is going to change everything next year.
Z, you ready? How about this? If you don't want to have a Lane Kiffin style soap opera every day and you're shopping yourself around and you're a higher level coach, I think that you just keep your mouth shut. Like, realistically, if Lane Kiffin behind closed doors sat down with everybody, the powers that be at LSU and said, I don't want there to be a chance that I'm not allowed to coach Ole Miss through the playoffs. I understand recruiting is what it is. We'll put people in place to do that. Let Ed Orgeron run around and do what he does. But the moment the playoffs are over, we'll announce that I'm leaving and I'm going to LSU. I'll sign whatever documents you need me to sign, but I'm signing a, what are those things called? Non-disclosure agreement. No one can say anything at all. It's not leaving this room until the moment LSU is eliminated from the playoffs. You wouldn't have had any of this drama. So now, you know what I'm saying? If you are a DeBoer or you are one of these high-profile guys, maybe they're keeping it close to the chest because I have a hard time believing that Penn State is just sitting on their hands right now, which they may be doing. But I also sit back and I go, if you're Lane Kiffin, dude, how self-centered do you have to be to not just keep this behind closed doors until the season's over? And play the political, I don't want to talk about that. I want to focus on Ole Miss. He did it towards the end of the year. He just needed to do it for another few weeks, another month, and he couldn't do it. So that's my whole thing. You know what I mean? Maybe that's what Penn State's doing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the talk, but you hear the talk that they were going after the guy from BYU, Sataki, and I just was like, I'm sorry, I just don't see that fit there. I don't see a big Samoan guy in the mountains of Penn State and Pennsylvania. You know, that's a West Coast guy in my book. I mean, I think you look at like Brian Kelly going down to LSU is like, in my opinion, like the guy Sataki leaving BYU or the West Coast to come coach at Penn State. You know, I don't know.
Coach,
I
if
don't
I'm
know.
not if I'm not mistaken, I think the BYU dude just got like they're trying to buy him out because the CEO of like Crumble Cookie or something. It's like a alum of BYU. I was reading something about that.
Yeah, they
They,
just gave him a big
they
contract.
just gave him a
Right?
crazy contract at BYU.
Yeah, I heard he did. Well, again, that's like everybody's using Penn State to get more money. It seems like
It
Yeah.
is.
every
Penn State,
coach has done it.
Coach Lee, Vanderbilt paid Lee to stay, and Drinkowitz is getting. Everybody's either getting fired or they're getting their bag. It's one or the other. It's great.
Yeah.
It's like the best in the. It's like a double-edged sword. It's the best and worst of the whole situation for everybody at the moment.
It's just crazy how it's all working. But I mean, I hope they have something up their sleeve because I mean, they got signing day they just missed out on. They have the 129th ranked signing day.
Worse than Harvard.
Yeah, they're down there with like the
recruiting
worst teams in
is
college
worse
football.
than Harvard.
The kid that they lost to West Virginia, the offensive lineman they lost to West Virginia. Did you see that, Walsh? Did you see
Burning
that?
the couch. I love it, baby.
Brown,
He was
right?
burning
Dude,
the couch. It was awesome.
That kid looks like if you were to create a football player in a lab, or just a guy that you would draw like a commando. The guy he looks like Conan the Barbarian for real.
The TV
And
plays
that's
for
an
you.
NFL football player alumni. He was committed to Franklin. The second Franklin got fired, it gave them the out to go to West Virginia. And the dad played for Rich Rod, and it was like, we're going there. I'm like, what are you doing, Penn State?
Yeah.
You got to be kidding me, man.
Well, dude, the team he plays for in Pennsylvania, Harrisburg, they're just like they're an awesome old school throwback team. I think they're 5A, 6A Pennsylvania football. Really good.
He's a killer too, dude.
He's a monster.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, listen, and then the other hires, Alex Golish from South Florida, who really had a great run of it this year with some big wins. He's at Auburn. I think Auburn. Listen, after what we saw, I don't know how their roster is going to set up, and they have some guys coming back, but they were close in a lot of games this year. Auburn, that they're a few plays away from being one of these teams in the playoff.
A few bad calls. I don't know how you get rid of Hugh Freeze. I really don't, because the Oklahoma game, Z, I'm not breaking your balls. We're just being honest. It was poorly officiated. They had their chances in that game. Really, let's be honest. Oklahoma and Georgia were very winnable games for them. If they win those games, we could be sitting here being like, Auburn's in the playoff. And then to fire your head coach, I'm just blown away by it. I can't believe it.
Yeah. No, I don't understand when you lose a lot of close games like that in the middle of the season. I mean, I guess it did give them a spark. But again, they had a defense coordinator in DJ Durkin that was already a head coach somewhere at NC State, I think it was, years ago. So, I mean, it wasn't like it was a slouch that was there, And then they changed some stuff offensively. And they pulled Jackson Arnold because
he was terrible.
He wasn't good.
Terrible.
He was
terrible. Rightfully so, too. The one that the hire that jumps off the paper at me is just Summerall to Florida. Florida is just, I mean, I'm biased because it was just like, for years coming up, they were always good. And then, they had the big run with Urban Meyer and Tebow. They're like, again, one of these blue blood. They talk about, your brand size. I mean, the Florida Gators are maybe not the biggest, but they're up there, man. And it's like, he could be a great hire, but they could have went and really made a splash and got somebody. And it just seems like they're recycling. It's almost like another Napier kind of move. It has the potential to be anyway.
Now that guy, I mean, listen, if you fire your guy and you go to somebody else, I mean, when you have so many big time jobs and so many jobs open, the pool of guys you're going to choose from is going to shrink. They thought they were in the running for Lane Kiffin, and they weren't. I guess it was more LSU just threw so much money at him that it wasn't. They were out of the running. And
Florida, he passed on Florida because Florida was insisting on having a GM. and Lane wants complete autonomy.
Well, he wanted. I think he brought his own. He brought his guy from Ole Miss.
Ole Miss, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
they wanted to have somebody that had NFL experience. I
Right.
think that was the thing that they said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And then the last hire that we'll talk about, which I think is a move that Penn State could have done too, and it would have been possibly controversial, but he was cleared of all wrongdoing. Is Pat Fitzgerald at Michigan State? This guy, when he took over Northwestern, I mean, they went from a doormat to like instant, like just a tough type team, almost very much like a Brett Venables type of coach, in my opinion. Pat Fitzgerald, toughness, defense, perfect type of play for the Big Ten, where Michigan State is going to be up there dealing with what they're going to deal with. So I think that's a great hire for them. Really, always a big fan of Pat Fitzgerald when he was at Northwestern. So what do you guys think about that?
I definitely think it's a good move.
Yeah, I
Honestly,
like that,
it's like you hit the nail on the head. That's a potential Penn State level guy.
Yeah, it's just
You know?
They need it, dude.
Hire
They've
there.
been
Sneaky hire.
haven't been doing good since 2015. They
Yeah,
they
I
had a
think-
solid run in 2022 with LJ Scott. I don't even know who, to be honest, but
Well, they had the one guy, Mel Tucker, there, the Oklahoma guy, for a little bit. He had
Yeah.
a little bit of success early on.
22 he had pretty good
Yeah.
success. But since then, I mean, they just gone through so much stuff.
Yeah. Yep. All right, boys. Now we're going to get into some championship games, and the ones that really going to talk about the ones that are really going to define what is going to shape out what is left in the college football playoff. So the first one we'll deal with here is in the Sun Belt. And Friday at 7 p.m., you have Troy battling James Madison. Now, James Madison was ranked high in the AP poll. If I'm correct about that, I think they're up at 19. But James Madison in the college football playoff finally cracked in the top 25. So they finally got in there. So what does that mean? I mean, by getting into there now, and the one thing that is not up in there, out of all these teams that are playing that we're going to talk about, the only team, well, Troy's not mentioned in there also, but as far as an ACC team, you have the Duke Blue Devils sitting at 7-5 and not ranked in the college
This is
football
why
playoff.
this is wild to me because there's a scenario at play here where first of all, I'm just gonna say this for the record. Z, you're gonna take your little passive aggressive digs at me and just try and gas me up. But I'm just gonna say this. The G5 schools that are threatening to get into the playoffs right now makes me not want to even watch this shit. If we're being 100% honest. Again, I know that there have been Z, you used a great example, and it really is a great example of Arizona State last year. They really, if it wasn't for what was it, like Cam Scatterbo, if it wasn't for that run, I would be sitting here laughing in the face of everybody that's going to say, "Oh, put a G5 school in over this team in the SEC or this team in the Big Ten or whatever." Duke is going to go play Virginia, and obviously we have a guy that is near and dear to our heart. I'm rooting for Duke. They're a 5-loss team, and there have been things put in place that have determined that they go play for the ACC championship. If they win, and it's not Virginia, let's just say it's Duke, you're going to have a 5-loss ACC championship team probably not make the playoffs. It may result in 2 G5 teams. It may result in an extra team from the SEC, whatever it is. But there's a scenario in play where the ACC championship is a 5-loss team. They don't go to the playoffs, but Miami, who is an ACC team, has 2 losses. People are going to try and leverage an at-large bid for them. That's wild to me. I don't think, to me, that can't happen. If you're not good enough, and again, are they good enough? We all know they're good enough. But again, technicalities being what they are, there have been mechanisms put in place to not have them play for the championship in their own conference. But they're going to potentially, so like Z, Virginia needs to win, or else there's going to be all hell's going to break loose in terms of like that little aspect of it. Because now you have 75 Duke, who is, again, it is the best. How do I word this? It is the best 4 conference championships, is it not?
Yeah, highest ranking. Yeah.
Highest ranked.
It's the highest ranked conference champ.
5
You're not going
conference
to
champs.
have a 7-5 Duke team jump the rest of these teams. You know what I mean? Virginia definitely could because of their record, but James Madison, unfortunately, being what it is, the Sun Belt, they have 1 loss.
Yeah.
So I don't get the shit. The American Football Conference, potentially North Texas, 1 loss. So it makes me sick. But now these teams are going to get, like, let's be honest, man. Tulane, they had a great season. I watched them play Duke. They had a great year. Are they going to win 1 game in the playoffs? Can they? Yes. Anybody can beat anybody. So let's just give that little friggin', cliche. Let's get that out of the way. Is Tulane going to do shit in the playoffs? Is North Texas? The answer is no.
Yeah.
And if you want to see the best 12 teams play, it's like the committee has to take a hard look at this shit.
Mm-hmm. My biggest thing is like you go into like the 2021 season with, I think, was that the last year or 2 years before they did the bigger bracket?
That was when they had the 4-man team when Florida State had a big deal that they
threw
didn't get
Cincinnati into the playoffs, and they got steamrolled by Alabama.
It was brutal. It was brutal.
Terrible.
It's just.
But listen, like you guys are saying, whatever they go to, it's not going to be enough, and that's what we're saying. When it came out with this, you figure you're going to have the top 10 teams, and then you have 2 other teams that are going to get in there from the group of 5, which, possibly it'd be 2 or possibly even 1. It was only going to be, but this is what they've given us, and by having so many good teams in 2 conferences, you're getting more and more of these teams that are going to have losses, that are going to slip up, and that's what has happened to some of the teams that are good, and what the reasons are, whatever. But I still think, when you have the top 10 teams that are in the country, it should be enough. It should be enough to narrow down to the national championship. Because, listen, Jared, we could talk about this, and we'll talk about it more. Texas, according to their wins, they deserve a shot to get in there. But if you look at their losses and their away games, they don't deserve a shot.
Can I just say this?
So you can look at 2 different ways,
You and I, Z, could probably sit on here for 3 hours and we would just talk in circles like we do about most things. But I'll just say this: in regard to Texas. First, I want to ask you an honest-to-goodness question. We'll take all bias out of it. Your credibility is on the line here. Do you think 2 G5 teams belong in a playoffs, yes or no?
Well,
if we're just looking for
No, listen, what I think is, if this happens, there's a chance that one of these teams gets left out and they put Miami in.
Right. So let me ask. So this is my issue. Miami has 2 bad losses, in my opinion. I don't think they're good losses. They have they have some good wins, but they have some, like, in my opinion, bad losses. I don't think Miami deserves to get in because they're not good enough by the metric that is in place to play for their own conference. We'll put a pin in that for a second. If you were to take Texas and take the Longhorns out of it, we'll put any other team in there. And you were to say, this is the issue. Florida lost. We're going to own it. I want to keep it on the record. If you take the Ohio State game out of there, right, and we go back in our time machine and we schedule
Montana State.
Furman.
And right?
Furman.
Because we can go down the line and we can look at a lot of teams. And I know, Z, what you're going to say, well, Oklahoma beat Michigan. But all I'm saying is, if you were to just say, flip Oklahoma and Texas, Oklahoma went on the road to Ohio State and lost by a score in a squeaker of a game. And then Texas got Michigan at home and threw them a beating. You would be sitting here saying, you know what? Don't ever give us, fans of college football, don't give us these good games anymore, these awesome opening season games. Go schedule Kennesaw State because you play in the meat grinder SEC. There is a chance you're going to slip up and flub a game, and now you're going to get penalized for it. So again, everybody, the pro Texas people are going, they're getting penalized for a 1-score loss to Ohio State that they went on the road and opened their season with. And the anti-Texas people are going, well, they lost to Florida. Give me the Florida loss. Texas lost to Florida, and Texas lost to Georgia. So they're 2-loss team with, instead of a loss to Ohio State, they have a win over Secaucus Prep. Okay. Now they're 10-2 with a win over A&M, a win over Oklahoma, and a win over Vanderbilt. All top 10 teams. They're like they're the 5 seed in the playoffs. So you can't, in my opinion, you can't penalize a team for doing what Texas did, because honestly, now they're just not going to do it anymore, and it's sending a horrible message to football. I know Miami has 2 losses. They're not good enough to get in their own conference championship, and neither is Texas. But the conference champ of the conference Texas belongs to is definitely going in. The conference that Miami belongs to, the champion of that conference, may very well not even get to go to the playoffs. So that's that to me in a nutshell is the ACC is thought that low of that we might not even put there. Like, honestly, if we think the ACC is a big deal, then if Duke wins with 5 losses, put them in the playoffs. They're not going to do that. So my whole thing is you got to sit back. It's the eye of the beholder. Everybody watches a lot of football. The committee is made up of a lot of knowledgeable football people. Put the 12 best teams in. I don't want to see James Madison. I don't want to see North Texas. I don't want to see friggin' Troy. Give us who we want in these playoffs, because that's what it's all about. It's the 12 best teams. That is my piece. I digress.
Hey,
I agree with that.
beat Florida, bud.
I get it, dude. I mean, listen.
I mean, listen. People, yeah, I'm saying my biggest thing that people are going to knock Texas with basically their road record is horrible, and they're going to be on the road in the playoffs too.
No one's considering the road record, dude. No one's considering that. It's good
that
losses. It's bad losses. It's
Their
strength of
road
schedule.
record is horrible.
No one
And
on
they're
the
going to if they make the playoffs, they're going to get on the road.
Here's the metric.
I
Let's
guess
look
they're
at your
just-
road record. No one cares about that. I mean, I get it's a factor, but no one in the committee gives 2 shits about someone's road record. Dude.
It's one of those things that they're going to look at, in my opinion. Well, listen. Texas is not even in the conversation, so I don't know why we even bother with them.
No,
Here
they
we go.
are.
We're going to go to. So we talked about James Madison. We'll see what they got in the Sun Belt Championship. The next game we got at 8:00 on the same night. We have North Texas at Tulane. So that is a battle of 2 ranked teams now in the American Championship game. Both 1-loss teams, right, guys? Both
No,
1-loss?
Tulane's 10-2.
Tulane's 10-2, right?
Yes.
And then North Texas has 1 loss, if
Yep.
I'm mistaken. So that's going to be one of those teams is probably going to get in. You know,
Yep.
one of those teams is definitely going to be in there. And listen, you got to look at like Tulane and you know, teams have gone, and a lot of people have like poached a lot of players from Tulane and made their teams very good in the last, you know, couple of
In the
as
portal
far as
era.
transfer portal moves. So Tulane has had a good pipeline, being basically the only other school down there in Louisiana, you know, as far as like the bigger name schools. You know, you have the Louisiana Monroe, where I mean that's a smaller school that Ahmad Hardy came from last year. So you have these players that are being so there's some good football down there, and I think there's some talk of possibly Ed Ogeron going to Tulane as the next coach, which would be a pretty cool move for him. Who knows if he would do it? I don't know. You know, but I think that's going to be a good game, and that's also going to show us about college and who's going to get in the playoff. You know, one of those 2 teams. Now here's the scenario with this championship game: the Big 12 championship, 12 noon on Saturday in Arlington, Texas. BYU, Texas Tech, both 1-loss teams, right? If BYU wins, they're both going to get in. I think both of those teams get in the playoff. Texas Tech is not going to get penalized for playing in a conference championship game. They showed last year they weren't going to do that to teams when they kept SMU in there. They kept SMU when they lost to Clemson in this very kind of scenario almost where Virginia and Duke are. Clemson was a lot of lost teams that still got in. They got in because of their name brand. But if Texas Tech wins that game, it will knock BYU out. What do you guys
Yeah.
think?
Yeah,
I
I agree
agree.
with that. Definitely, yeah.
I agree. 100%.
And they're gonna. I mean,
And what do you think about if BYU wins?
Knock
You're a-
Texas Tech out, dude. Get these
you're
teams
Yeah.
dude.
you're a two loss team, and there's other. I don't know. I mean,
Two
here's
lost
the
team in
thing.
the Big 12. I don't know.
I really don't think that they're going to lose, though. Honestly, there's other
No,
games. Like,
yeah.
I think Duke has a chance of beating Virginia. I think that like all the other ones could be the toss-up. This is the game where it's like literally. I'm not a big. I really think that Texas Tech just had an easy win when they played the first time. It did not
Yeah,
look.
but it was at Texas Tech. It was a huge game for them at Texas Tech. This now is, I mean, I know it's still in Texas, but it's not at their home place. So BYU is going to have.
Might as well be, dude.
Yeah, well, you listen. BYU people are going to come down there and be there. So my point is, coaching staff wise, which coaching staff, having had a shot at a team already, is going to make the best adjustments?
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah,
mean,
it's gonna come down to-
are the Texas Tech kids going to come into the game going, "Oh, the game was so easy the last time. We got these guys," because that mentality exists in kids' heads. When
It
you play
does.
a team twice and you've already pounded them, then you have that back of your head. No matter what, we're going to beat them. And then if you lost that game where you got pounded, you have that. Well, we got to change what we did. We got to do this better. We got to do this. We got to pay attention to detail. So you have that backing you up. So that's where I think anything could happen. I mean, you know, but if it does, then if BYU does win, it does take another spot away from an at-large team, you know.
Yep.
And okay, SEC championship, Georgia, Alabama. Okay, it's in the Mercedes-Benz Dome in Atlanta. Is there any way that either one of these teams are not in the playoffs?
I'm gonna quote Coach Z on this. You ready, Z?
Yep.
You're in the playoffs already. Yeah, if you're Alabama,
because
you're
they're-
already. This is the first round of the playoffs for you.
I don't think so.
I do. You're three
I don't
losses
think they
if
are
you-
going to punish.
They're 3 losses.
Yeah, but they're getting their third loss in a conference championship game, having to play a team they already beat.
They're
Yeah.
playing. I agree with. So the part of that statement that I agree with is the team that they already beat. It's still a team that other teams played. So it's like you're a 3-loss team. I feel like, and if a lot of people are going to go ape shit if they lose and don't get in, and rightfully so, because I think they deserve to get in. I more so than Texas. I'll just be honest about that. But at the end of the day, to quote Coach Z, you already had. This is your playoffs. You want to win the game and get in. I think this is a playoff game for Alabama. I don't think it's a playoff game for Georgia because Georgia now would fall into it like the 2-loss. It's a championship game, et cetera, et cetera. So again, just because records being what it is, and we're going to weigh wins and losses, I think this is already a playoff game for Alabama. There's a high chance of it.
Yeah, I think what the committee has shown is I don't think there's any way they don't put Alabama in the game. Both of these teams are not in there. That's my guess on it. But again, we'll see what happens. All right, now we talk about, here we go, Duke and Virginia. So we have 7-5 Duke, and I believe it's 10-2 Virginia.
Crazy.
How did this happen?
Virginia,
I'm rooting for, you know me, I'm rooting for Duke hard.
Yeah,
but
I am 100%.
yeah, Virginia. Listen, 10-2. They got losses to Wake Forest, and they got a loss to NC State. I mean, they beat Duke. They beat
Handedly.
Duke 3 weeks ago, 34-17.
Yeah,
You know, so again, Duke coaches, how much are they going to make adjustments? How much are the Virginia coaches going to make adjustments? So that was a game that was only a few weeks ago. So we'll see how that handles. And I think we all can agree on this one that
Big
this is a playoff game for one team, not for the other. Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
playoff
so-
game for Virginia.
Virginia.
Right. Virginia wins. They're going to get in. 10-2, ACC champ. They deserve to be in. You know,
Yeah.
they have some losses that aren't good, but if we're going to go by this nowadays, and listen, and part of this doing, I mean, Kite, we can talk about this. Part of this doing is Oklahoma and Texas both leaving the Big 12 to go here, to go to the SEC. Because if
Yep.
Oklahoma and Texas were still sitting in the Big 12 right now,
They'd
they
both
would
be
probably
in.
be playing in the Big 12 championship game,
Yep.
or them or Texas Tech, and both of them would definitely be in. You know, so I
Yeah,
mean,
definitely,
this is where the
100%.
greed comes out now. You
Yep.
know, they could have stayed there. If Oregon would have stayed in the Pac-12, they would have been the Pac-12 champs this year probably.
Yep.
For the next,
And you know, it just kind of blew everything up. Where with the way this all went into this kind of playoff, it just didn't need to go. That's what I feel
Nope.
about it. You know. All right, so that's what we're going to talk about that game. So that's enough with that. And then the final game, number 2 Indiana at number 1 Ohio State. I mean, Ohio State last week, I think against Michigan, they looked very good. They did, you know, they beat Michigan like I think a lot of teams thought they would do. I mean, the people are making this out like what an amazing win by Ohio State. It's amazing. It's amazing. You know, Michigan was still a 3-loss team.
Yeah, they're
You know, I mean, let's not blow this up to like it's like,
Yeah.
oh, see, we told you, look how good we are. You know, there's still a team that wasn't, you know, they did have Ohio State's number for the however many years, and I understand that, but it's like you can't just tell me like Ohio State is the best team in the world because look what they did to Michigan now. You know, so I don't buy that.
I don't know, Coach. When I was watching that game, I mean, I can't say I wasn't like impressed. Obviously, it's a rivalry game, but I'm not like
Yeah.
sitting here saying when I watch Georgia, I look at them or Alabama, I say those teams look like national championship team. I mean, we all said the same thing about Ohio State last year, though, and then look what they did in the playoffs. So
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah. No,
I mean, I
this
don't
is
think there's a doubt with this game. Win or lose, they're both in. You know, the only thing I think that could doubt is if one of these teams loses by a larger margin, are they going to drop out of the bye?
Yeah.
I think
You
so.
think?
A
They're not
large
dropping. I
margin
mean,
loss?
they're in the playoffs. Honestly,
I don't think they will.
I mean, you know, I don't know. Yeah, they're gonna. I think they could drop out of a bye for sure. But again, it's like if you have guys that are really nicked up, do you want to go play them in a conference champion? Again, it's a flag, it's a championship, but you know, you have both teams are capable, in my opinion, of winning the national championship. So it's like almost like this is honestly, in a way, it's the most irrelevant championship game that we've just talked about. In
Do
terms
teams
of
even care anymore about the conference championship?
in terms of playoff implications, I think the SEC championship, people, if you're
Is
like
a national championship.
yeah, I mean, you want to go win the national championship, but there's some people. You get these crazy people down in Auburn or Alabama. They
Old-timers.
care more about the SEC than they care about
Championship.
anything.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, hey, listen, it's some good games going on, and some things can definitely happen. You know, looking at the rankings that we have, you know, as far as the top 25 that comes from the college football playoff. You know, we have Ohio State sitting at 1. We have Indiana sitting at 2. Georgia 3. Texas Tech is 4. Right now, those are the teams that have the byes. You know, and the two up front are playing each other. Georgia's playing Bama. Texas Tech is playing BYU. So a lot can move out of that. That is not set in stone. I think one thing that might be set in stone here is Ohio State's getting a bye. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Very good chance, unless
think
they get their
Texas
doors
Tech is
blown
gonna
off,
win.
which isn't going to happen. I mean, even
I
if they
can't see
lose,
it happening.
they're not getting their doors blown off. Even if they lose, they're not getting their doors blown off. So I agree with you. They're going to get a bye.
The only thing that could happen here, if one of these teams gets blown out in a championship game, it does open it up for that team from the Northwest to get into a bye. You know, Oregon is the next team that goes up. But again, are they going to penalize teams for losing championship games? I don't think it's a good precedent to set, being that these other teams are all sitting home right now. You know, you have Oregon, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Oklahoma. You know, they're all sitting home right now. So these
Can I
teams
just say
should
this?
not.
I don't think that there's. If you look at Maul, I'm not taking a shot. If you take Oregon's schedule, What have they done in terms of they've played and beat who they got put in front of them? So it's if you take Oklahoma and Texas specifically, Z, they took an out of conference game or a gimme game, and they chose to schedule what on paper in the beginning of the year were like two of the best teams in the biggest other rival conference. So I don't think that some of these teams deserve. Ohio State is playing Indiana and vice versa. They're two of the top teams in the country. You can't sit back and say, oh, one lost to the other one. Let's put Oregon up there. It's like, no, Oregon hasn't done anything to deserve that either. You know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah,
I
no,
don't.
I agree with that.
I think that Ohio State is going to stay where they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think
Yeah, that's a lot of things. I mean, the only thing I look at in saying this, Alabama wins. You know, I think definitely Alabama, I think, deserves to jump up to a team with a bye.
Absolutely.
You know, that's my opinion of that. You know, which will push everybody back. Georgia won't go past, you know, a lot of teams there. So, in my opinion, if that happens, Oklahoma will probably fall to 9 because, who knows what happens with the other games, you know? Like if BYU wins over Texas Tech, how far up do they go?
Yeah.
You know, so
They're
if
lucky to
BYU
be in it,
wins,
dude. They're
if
lucky to be
BYU
in it.
wins over Texas Tech and Alabama wins over Georgia, they're both going to jump over Notre Dame and Oklahoma and move up, which they deserve to move up.
That's got to kick Notre Dame out then, right?
Notre Dame's not getting kicked out because they're brand size. Notre Dame, if we're looking at resumes, dude, Notre Dame, and I think they're good, and I think they are one of the best 12 teams in the country. But in terms of resume, it's a joke. Their resume does not compete and stack up with anybody else's. But because they're Notre Dame, they're going to get in, which is wild. The teams that I don't think really belong in there are like Sun Belt and American teams. I just think if you did a playoff, it would be they would get friggin' trounced by, honestly, all the at-large teams would kill these teams.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, Notre Dame, Miami, Vanderbilt, and Texas. They're kicking the shit out of these.
They're going to destroy them all.
It's
not even a close game,
dude.
Not even close.
Like I said, again, some of these scenarios, I just brought up those two scenarios happening. And then say Virginia definitely wins. They're going to be in there now. And then if Tulane wins and, you know, North Texas both win, now you have, you know, who's going to be ranked higher between wait, hold on. Tulane is playing – who did I say that again, guys?
Tulane's playing North Texas, and they're a two-loss team.
And James Madison is playing
Troy,
my bad, yeah. So, again, if they all win, one of those teams win, you know, James Madison and see if North Texas wins, James Madison's one ranking behind them. That could be style points right there. Whoever wins that game with more style points will
I
be the
can't
team
believe
that
we're
gets in
talking
my
about
opinion.
fucking James Madison. Texas. It's just it is what it is. It's just wild to me, dude.
It's terrible, dude. It's terrible.
Take
Yeah, but
Vanderbilt.
guys,
Me and you were going down to Atlantic City Sportsbook, and we got $100, $1,000 in our pocket. I'll take Vanderbilt and the points over every team we just named.
No, I got you. I see what you're saying. I mean, we'll see how it goes there. But, I mean, I guess you could say conference champions that are ranked. But, again, the committee can still they'll do whatever they want to do. You know, that's why I don't think Oklahoma's a shoo-in yet. You know, you never know what can happen here.
The NCAA made these conferences the way they are, speaking specifically about the Big Ten and the SEC.
Yeah.
So they got to do the right thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to overload two monster, it should be power two.
Oh, no, listen, the NCAA didn't
Power
make these
two.
conferences the way they did. Listen, Jared, the NCAA didn't make these conferences. The greed of Texas, Oklahoma, Oregon, all these teams made these conferences the way they are.
I mean, Z, the NCAA has to sign off on it, dude. You know what I mean?
Again, they're not going to say no when teams want to do this. My point is these teams got more money to make these conferences. Now you got to deal with the consequences.
Yeah. I
because,
agree.
like we said, Oklahoma and Texas could have been sitting there with one loss probably each, and they could be easily up ahead of a lot of these teams. But you know what? They wanted to join the SEC. And listen, this is what you're going to deal with here. Oregon, is down here. If they're in the Pac-12, they might have the same record right now. Because they might have had no losses if they were just playing the teams in the Pac without playing outside of the division. But there's a way to do this if they really want to do it right. You got to make different divisions. You got to make everything different. And football has to be different than all the sports. So if there's a way to do it right by spacing it out into different conferences with 8, 9, or 10 teams in it, and there's a way to do it right. But right now, it's just driven by the money making of the SEC and the Big 12, the Big 10, and how much money they're making off of these teams now.
All right. I think that's all the time we got, Coach.
Yeah. So we're gonna hit real quick. We'll hit the Pick'em challenge. Okay. I think that's our final numbers there, guys. Right.
Yep.
I finished up 8-13. Malt finished up 7-14, and Coach Kite, the winner, at 13-8. I think that's what you finished up, Coach. Right? Is that the right number?
Yes, sir. I did. I'm 13-8.
Yeah, a couple of 3-0.
There we go, baby.
Weeks for Coach. Got to give him his. But never had the faith to take his Longhorns. That's what I kind of saw from him. I wish he would have.
It's a juju thing, dude. It's a gambling thing. The proof's in the pudding, dude. I'm 13-8. So you know what I mean. You want to criticize? I'm 1-0 against you and pick 'em challenges. How about that?
You are. You know what it is? This is the way I am. I don't know about you guys, but I've said this. I'm never really a gambler with this kind of stuff. I just felt it was so hard for me to pick a underdog. Every week I just picked favorites by points. And I look at it going, why can't I pick an underdog? And I don't know what it is. I just never did. I never did. I don't know why. I don't know about, and that's just the way I was with it. But that's
didn't work well for me. Do I got my picks of the week real quick?
Yeah, go for it, baby.
All right. So last week we swept the board. This week we're going Georgia money line, Georgia -2.5. And we're going to put some money on them plus 800 to win a national championship.
Woo-hoo!
We're giving out a future bet here. We're
Nice.
taking them. Got Oregon. Hopefully they're on opposite sides of the bracket, so we'll see there. And then we're also going to go Georgia and Ohio State money line parlays, and we're taking Duke plus 3.5.
Big time.
Oh, okay.
All right.
All right, here we go, man. This week, Roadrunner of the Week. Very impressed by watching. I watched some of the clips of this kid, University of Florida running back Jaden Baugh, ran for 264 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he's credited with the majority of his runs being the yardage gained after contact, breaking 13 tackles along the way in those runs to really put the dagger into the Seminole season in the big win for Florida, pounding Florida State. Roadrunner of the Week, Jaden Baugh.
All right, here we go. Headhunter of the Week with 9 total tackles, 3 solos, 6 assisted, half a tackle for loss, 1 pass breakup, and 1 block field goal. Your Headhunter of the Week, Texas Longhorn, Ethan Burke.
Fools of the Week, 272 yards rushing, 26 first downs, 34 minutes, 42 seconds time of possession, the Florida Gators.
Bang.
Yeah.
Good job, guys.
Good week.
All right, so that's it for our Pick'em Challenge. Then
See
we
you
will
next
be
week.
enjoying those steaks soon. Next week, we'll get into, definitely what the college football playoff is going to look like, and we should definitely have a lot of fun with that. So I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight at 6 o'clock. Enjoy this show. Hopefully, you enjoy it and you keep watching us, guys.
Yep. See you
Later,
next week,
guys.
guys.
See you next week.